And after this very long and interesting discussion, we'll come back to the two last presentations. One real presentation, and the second one is more than a short discussion on what we will do in Santiago. But first of all, we will hear a new case study or another case study called Inspiration, case study of Marche Centro d'Arte, Italy, an arts and culture project creating social and economic value for the Marche region. Ilaria Rosetti from the Maastricht University. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Ready for the last two? I know that we're all tired, but I swear I'll try to be as sketchy as possible. So, today I'm here to, well, first of all, I would like to say that I'm very thankful for being here and to have the chance to present to you all the Marche Centro d'Arte project. I worked here for 4 years as a trainee project manager assistant and as an event organizer. And while I was doing my bachelor studies, I got my bachelor degree in Florence in history of archaeology, archives, fine arts and libraries, very broad bachelor. And then for 1 year I worked in 2 different art galleries in UK, and then I arrived in the Netherlands and I'm studying at the Maastricht University at the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, and this is the reason why I'm here to talk to you, because I'm following this master on Arts and Heritage Policy Management and Education, and I'm writing my thesis about the community engagement in the conservation and management of cultural heritage. Well, this justifies my presence here, but my case study is quite far from the heritage and archaeology field that we have been talking about until now. So I'm going to talk to you about the connection between contemporary art and sustainability. I'm going to present to you this case study, so the Marche Centro d'Arte, not as an example of best practice in the field of sustainability or for adopting particularly sustainable solutions, but because I think it's a perfect case of willingness of listening to the public, change, ability of change, and adapt to the different needs and feedbacks that we can receive from the citizens, from the public itself. So first of all, I would like to give you an overview of the geographical area in which this project takes place. We are, well, in Italy, in the center, in the Marche region by the Adriatic Sea, and especially in this region on the province of Ascoli Piceno, the Piceno area, which has been hit, as many other places, by a very strong economical crisis in 2008. And this is the scenario in which the Marche Centro d'Arte project has originated. Indeed, the main aim of this project is to facilitate the development of creative solutions to face this economical crisis. And how does it do it? Adopting the philosophy of peer-to-peer. The peer-to-peer is a term borrowed from the IT field. I don't know if any of you has knowledge about it. It was the first time that I heard about it, but it's a very interesting concept. So a peer-to-peer is a net of exchanging data in which each node is at the same time an active transmitter and an active receiver. I mean, how do we apply this concept to this project? Well, the main aim of the Marche Centro d'Arte is to use art to connect people. And connected people of any kind, common citizens or professionals or entrepreneurs, in order to create the chance of developing new ideas, new projects, or new collaborations in any field. So art, in this specific case, contemporary art exhibitions, are just a means for, if you want to translate it in sustainable terms, to to stimulate sustainable social development and reach the economical sustainability of the project. Now, we have been talking about this concept for the whole day, but for this specific case, it will be clear. I know they are very controversial. It will be clear while presenting the case, because as we said, sustainability could be very specific, very peculiar of each case study, especially after having discussed about archaeology and heritage today. Of course, in this presentation is going to have a different shade of meaning. So, the Marche Centro d'Arte is the product of the collaboration between three different stakeholders. One is the art gallery, Galleria Marconi, whose owner is the art director of the project. Then Cocalos Club, which is a community that developed around the chain of clothing shops active in the area, and its business partners, and it involves about 25,000 people all over this Piceno area. Then the third, the owner of this chain clothing shop is the president of the Marche Centro d'Arte. The third stakeholder is the Pala Riviera, which is a Congress Hall cinema multiplex, and the owner is covers the role of consultant in this project, and at the same time provides the main location for the main art exhibition of the project. Now, the project could be divided in three different stages. The first three editions are part of the first stage, which present similar characteristics, and for this reason I'm going to present them all together. So they all present the organization of one contemporary art exhibition during 2 months in the summer period in one city. So the city is San Benedetto del Tronto. As you see, we are always in the Piceno area. This is Ascoli Piceno, the province head. And it's Ascoli, San Benedetto del Tronto is a summer holiday resort. It's, as you can see, it's in the Palm Riviera. So it's a small piece of land along the Adriatic Sea, which has a huge quantity of palm trees. For this reason, we have this name. Is the first fishing harbor of the Adriatic, and has a very interesting history. So the first, the oldest part of the city was originated since the medieval age. So going back to the first stage, it's interesting to see how it was funded. So in the first, for starting, of course, some funding from one bank were obtained. Then 2 art schools sustained the project. But the most interesting part is the adoption of the system of the adopters. Sorry for the repetition. What are the adopters? Who are them? Could be everyone. It was a call opened for all the citizens. So it doesn't matter what you do, what kind of professional, if you're involved or not with arts, everyone had the possibility with the 100 euros to adopt one artist. In the first edition, it was already a good start. 26 people decided to adopt an artist, and then the number was increasing. But why? Why someone should be willing to adopt an artist, except for the love for contemporary art? Well, because the name of the adopters was put inside the exhibition together with the name of the artist, with a small description of the activity of this adopter. At the same time, the name was included in a series of newsletters that on a weekly basis were sent to all the members of the Cocalos Club community. So it was reaching these information with a description of the activity, email address, actual address of the company or the service provided, was included. It was reaching 25,000 people. Most of them maybe didn't even open the email, but can you imagine how many people potentially you can reach actually? And moreover, the name and the description of the activity was incorporated also inside the catalogs, of which were given as present to the key stakeholders on the area. So this is an example of how the catalog looked like. And you see here there's the part dedicated to the artists, to the artwork, to the kind of art. This is the artwork. And here, exactly on the same level, giving well, a great importance, there's the adopter. With the activity, in this case it's Choo-Choo, it's a famous wine brand from the local area. But what happens? It looks a very good way to promote art and to promote the local businesses. As you can see, in the second edition there were 52 adopters, but in the third one it went down to 41. What happened is that in 2013 the local economy was eaten even harder by the economical crisis, and making a research for the fourth edition, not enough people were found willing to pay those 100 euros to adopt an artist. So in this way, well, this is I wanted to include some pictures of the exhibition with some activities like flash mobs to engage better with the community, well, openings and particular events in collaboration with a dance school, for instance. But after this experience of the first 3 years, we go to the second stage. What happens now? That instead of using just the art to connect people, this time the idea was to use the art, the territory, and the schools to connect people between themselves. What I mean is that the territory, the number of the exhibition, the numbers of the cities involved increased. For the first edition we have 4 cities and for 4 contemporary arts exhibitions. These are the 4 cities. San Benedetto del Tronto, as in the first one, Monte Brandone, Offida and Cupra Marittima. Smaller centers, but connected by a common history, a common history that heals back even from a pre-Romance period, where in this area was living a population called the Piceni, from here also the name of the area and of the main city. And again, in the during the Roman Empire, this was the area where the salt was gathered and brought through this main road, which is still the old ancient road to Rome. And in the years after also it had many historical moments in common to which that created a continuity in architecture, in structure of the territory, of the old towns, which somehow connects all these towns. Those are some pictures, gives you an idea of how they look like. What is the next step? Create a number of events, or for instance openings of the different exhibitions in different dates, in order also to stimulate the local tourism, so to move people to get engaged with the project and follow event by event and go around in the area. Then in order to connect, well, what was found important is that contemporary art is not enough to connect people. Is not a reason enough strong. Could be a moment of aggregation, social aggregation, but it's not enough to put together in a difficult moment everyone. So to reach a broader public, the idea was to create a connection between the local heritage, the local history, and rediscover it all together in the not with an educational purpose, but more in the philosophy of the whole project. So just to connect is an occasion to discover together our common roots and stay together and talk about it. So different guided tours were organized in the area. Here we have some examples. For instance, here it was a visit to a craftwork lab in which an old man is still working the wood in a particular way that is not anymore known or used or largely used. Here is the reproduction of ancient ritual of Vestali. I'm sorry, I don't know how to. Vestali were ancient priests. Yeah. I mean, it's a revocation of the culture from the Roman Empire in archaeological site. This is also the connection with archaeology. Dinners, we're talking about the project, or openings. Here is during an art exhibition. There was a performance that engaged directly with the public. So it's there's always this aim of connecting with or interacting, engaging with the public. Go ahead. This is the most interesting part of the second stage. So also school projects were organized. In this case, in this fourth edition, the school project consists of guided tours through the main contemporary art exhibition, the one in San Benedetto del Tronto, followed by 2 hours in which the students were left completely free of producing any kind of art that they were feeling inspired of creating. Then the product of this artistic lab was gathered all together and organized in an exhibition at the end of the year that was showed inside the same building of the main contemporary art exhibition. So in this way, not only the schools and the young kids were engaged in a proactive way, but also their families in a very extended way. So parents and grandparents who went to visit the kids exhibition at the same time visited also the other one, which, by the way, the artworks exposed were there for sale. So it also increased the possibility of selling a piece of art from the main exhibition. Here are some pictures. Like, it was a real success. Like, it really, like, kids were very, very active, and they really took seriously this, and they kept on coming to the art exhibition during the whole summer, like going to see their artwork, but also going around visiting again the part of exhibition that inspired them in creating these artworks. Then talking about funding, well, the system of adopters didn't work anymore, so the municipalities were asked for a contribution. Talking before about this project also with Monique, we were discussing, is it a sort of failure to go to ask the municipalities for this funding? Actually, the municipalities are the representatives of the citizens, theoretically. So the way like these monies were asked is appealing to the concept of subsidiarity. So the idea of the collaboration between the public institutions and the privates working together to create new possibilities on the territory. So, going to the fifth edition, this time we have 5 cities and 5 contemporary art exhibitions. This is the geographical map again. So the one headed is San Polo del Tronto, which share the same history, the same as there's also an archaeological park in here, and they have many archaeological historical records. And yes, and about the school project, because this kept on, and this time it kept on the line of the common heritage and history that these people in this territory share. So a theater project was organized with students as actors on the theme of local history. So the title is Quando I Piceni diventarono Romani. It means when the Piceni, the population who lived there before the Romans, became actually Romans, enacting the contrast between these very different populations who eventually managed to live together on the territory and create this new culture, this new common culture that is still visible in the area. So these are some pictures from the theater enacting, and very interesting. Like there were 5 schools involved, and one spectacle was organized for each school participating. So each school was putting together a group of students interested, of course, in this theater lab, and so 5 different representations were enacted inside the theater, with the presence of other students and also families, engaging this way with a broader public, of course. Now, about the funding. The 5th edition was still funded by the municipalities, and this time also from the Chamber of Commerce. The main idea of creating these school projects was, of course, to engage with the students, with young people, in this way with their families, and of course to create a sort of stimulate this social sustainable development, not only in adult as it was aimed in the first stage, but also with young people in the second stage. And an additional aim was to create economical sustainability, asking for a small contribution of €5 for each student, including this project, theater project, inside the educational plan. This didn't happen because in 2015 a new regulation about schools was adopted by the main government and changed the power relations inside each singular institute. So the president of each singular school now have more power in deciding about the program, about the extracurricular activities. So being in the area new presidents of these school educational institutions, bringing across the project resulted quite difficult. So everything was postponed of 1 year, but we don't know if it's going to happen. So the sustainability, the economical sustainability of this stage 2 failed, but not for this reason the project stopped, and we enter in the 3rd stage, in which the philosophy is always the same: to use the art, the territory, and the school to connect people, but this time involving 6 cities with 6 contemporary art exhibitions. And of course the aim is to reach Ascoli Piceno, the province, the head of the province, aiming also at obtaining the province funding for the project. But this is still, as you see, I put a question mark because it's still uncertain. The art exhibitions are going to take place in the spring. So this is still an evolving project, it's the one ongoing, but the Marche Centro d'Arte is not still right now, because another project to involve directly the community has been developed. So in addition to the school project that still has to take place, a multicultural project involving visual art, music and theater was developed, called Le Arti si incontrano, like the arts meet each other. And this is a series of events taking place each Sunday for 2 months in October and November, in which a specific theme under those 3 categories, so visual art, music and theater, was picked, and on the same topic a movie was projected. A small conference was organized with the intervention of an expert on the topic, and then an aperitif dinner was organized. Everything for the price for participation of 15 euros, which became like I went to the first meeting. There were about 25, 30 people, but I kept on being informed about the attendance to this project, to this event, and eventually last Sunday there was the last meeting. There were 60 people, double. So it was a successful experiment until now. this is the marketing that has been done. Le arti si incontrano. This is about visual arts. This is about theater, and this is about jazz music. Here are some pictures. You can see it's really a gathering moment. It's not just about the conference, it's not just about the movie, but at the same time you can put together people interested in attending a conference, or people just interested in go to the cinema for watching different movies, or at the same time just people who wants to meet other people with the same interest, just for enjoying a glass of wine or food. But of course this is not for all the citizens. In this case, the Marche Centro is targeting a very specific group of people interested in these topics. But why this change? Because the objective is to gather funding, of course, to let these people feeling attached to this project, they still give something to them. Give the possibility of meeting, of creating these new ideas and projects by themselves. But at the same time, it may give the possibility in the next edition to develop a crowdfunding campaign targeting them. Well, of course, we don't know if it's going to happen. And as we saw for all these attempts of being economically sustainable of this project, at a moment of glory, and then they failed. But not for this reason, the project stopped. So this is, I think, this is the reason why this case could be interesting for this conference, because it's difficult to be sustainable. We don't even know exactly what means being sustainable, but trying and be open and listen to the reaction of the people. This maybe is community engagement, because, well, maybe in contemporary art works differently, but like, it's not really giving to them the power, it's not to pretend to know what they need, it's to listen and change with a very, like, with a fast pace, I would say, because in just 6 years, already 3 different stages of the project took place, and I think I see that they are ready to jump to a 4th stage, because it's pretty precarious, so they're going to change again. But this is, I think, a nice example, a nice inspiration case to present even in this archaeological heritage environment. Well, the conclusions, to just summarize, for the sustainable social outcome of the project is that in all the 3 stages there was a stimulation of creative thinking in adults and in young students, and the development of artistic skills through the art and theater labs. Labs. It's always at a certain point. Yes, which is quite important also, because it's something that generally is not there's not enough attention about these artistic topics in the Italian school systems. A couple of years ago they were even thinking of removing the art history classes from the high schools. So like, thank God it didn't happen, but like, to give back importance and relevance to these topics, there are such a strength of it for Italy, for Italian culture. This is the way we are known abroad. So this is also a way to re-engage, especially with young people, and reevaluate these thematics. And conclusions for the economical sustainability, as we said, is that first the adopters worked, and then the crisis hit it harder. Then the school project was thought also in order to gain economical sustainability, and then no inclusion, there was no inclusion in the educational plan, and no contribution from the families. And the third stage, well, this multicultural project aimed to engage with a specific group of people with a possible crowdfunding campaign. Well, who knows if it's going to be successful. Well, until now I tell you that it has been a pleasure to have the possibility to explain you my point of view on this case, and I don't know if we have time, or if you...
Yes, of course.
Yes? Okay.
Of course.
If you want to tell me...
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for this case study. Do you have comments or questions? Yes, Felix, please. Yes.
I think it was a wonderful presentation, and really brings us back to what the word means. And of course you are sustainable, because you have put an investment in the next generation. They will sustain your project.
Yes, and I would add that you are sustainable maybe also because you are changing from one stage to the other the way you are working. And this is clearly to the point, I think, of one part of the discussion. Another comment? Question? Yes, please, Costas, raise it.
I didn't understand how...
Yes, a little bit louder.
Yes, I
You have a
didn't
very nice voice.
understand how contemporary art was involved in the version of 495 during the theatre project and so on. What they did with contemporary art.
Yes, every year, so the basic of the project is that every year for 2 months, one or multiple, depends on the editions, contemporary arts exhibitions take place in different cities. Then there are these like collateral projects aimed to bring in people, engage with them. It's difficult to engage with people just with a contemporary art exhibition. Of course you can organize flash mobs, of course you can organize performances that engage with them, but still to use just contemporary art as a mean to engage with community, it's a difficult process because not everyone is interested, we have to admit it. Not
So
everyone...
just for engagement, not as an influence for the continuation of the project, for the theatre, for example, examining the origins and so on.
Well, the project of the theatre is still going. There is a proposal for the schools, also for this also for the 6th edition. This time not anymore for a simple theatre play, but for a musical with students involved. So all these projects go in parallel, and everything, because the main aim is not to create art exhibitions, is to connect people. So all the means are useful for this.
Another question.
Yeah.
Did you have any formal evaluation of people that were involved, like parents, kids, artists,
Well,
funders?
nothing official has been done. Well, I've done a general evaluation of the project during my master last year. I used it as a case study, and well, during this research, of course, I didn't want just to hear the opinion of the president, of the people directly involved. So I created a questionnaire, and I sent it, of course, personalized to all the different kind of categories. So questionnaire for the schools, a questionnaire for people involved in the theater project, a questionnaire involved directed to the artist, to the public itself. I asked to the general public directly, and then to some families of students through professors, because I was here, I couldn't go there, so maybe the answers are not as transparent as they would have been if I would have been there asking them myself. But well, the response was interesting because they didn't feel, not having me in front, especially the people directly involved, they didn't feel the urgency of saying the nice novel about it. Even the artistic director said it's frustrating because we are trying so hard, but I strongly believe in the principle. It's just I don't understand why people don't react, which I don't think is true. People are reacting somehow. We always have a stream of people attending the events. It's just that it's difficult, especially in this moment, to create a constant, constant public, let's say, because some events you have to pay for them, or you have to move, or people are busy. I mean, this is the aim, to try to meet their needs, because of course it's very difficult.
Thank you. comment? Yes, please.
Yeah, if people are interested in more information, how can they contact you?
Well, we can talk at dinner. I brought with me all the catalogs if you're interested in consulting them. I don't know. And well,
And you can talk after the meeting.
Yes, I can give you my email. I don't have a business card yet.
Okay, another comment? Okay. Thank you very much. So, we'll go for a coffee break now. For the last presentation, which is more a discussion, an open discussion. Not too long, Felipe, because I think we are almost at the end of our fuel and energy. And we will talk about in the framework of the steps of the project. There is a major or a strong step, which is a colloquium on sustainable archaeology, planned for 2016 in Santiago. And the question, of course, is what we will do there. And Felipe will give us a